Welcome back to the second episode of the Voices of MED13L. In this conversation, you'll meet our new Executive Director, Phil Buta, who sits down with hosts Katie Boychuk, Foundation Chair, and Inon Champagnier, board member, who are both fellow MED13L parents, to talk about why surveys, medical records, and CRID numbers are essential for advancing MED13L research. Let's dive in.
Well, hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. I want to start off by introducing Phil. We have an executive director for the foundation, which is really exciting. And I'm love to give an opportunity to talk about himself and just what a huge win this is for the foundation. So
Thanks, Katie. I'm just thrilled to be part of this foundation and this community. You have such an inspiring community. And I come to the foundation after spending, probably nearly 20 years. I don't want to talk about how long, but I'd say about 20 years in nonprofits. And a good chunk of that is spent at Catholic Charities here in Chicago. And I think I spent my career working to help families in need. And there's a need right here in our community to help provide all the resources and research that are needed to help. And I just became very familiar with Katie and her family and the work that they've done in the community here in the Chicago area through my work at Catholic Charities. And that introduction led me to understand all the great stories that you have, the inspiring stories that you have in this community. And to be honest with you, when talking with Inon and Katie during the interview process, it sealed it for me to be part of this. And I'm thrilled to be here to help lead us strategically in how we move forward, how we raise the resources we need to fund new research and greater outreach. And that's the work I'm excited to tackle in the coming years. So glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
thank you, Phil. And we're excited for you to do all the fundraising and get to know all the community members and how they can get involved in all the different ways.
Yes.
Thank you, Inon, for being here as well. If you want to say hello, people watching may not realize Inon is leading the Regional Ambassador Program.
Okay, great. So there are a few things that we're trying to do by the end of the year. One of them, as many people who will hopefully listen to this recording after know about, is Citizen, which, unlike RareX, which is a platform with surveys, that caregiver surveys to learn about the child's disorders, Citizen is a different platform that collects medical records and then allows patients to share them with their doctors. It pulls medical records from all of your previous providers and hospitals and everywhere where your child was seen. And then you own the data. And then whenever, let's say, you go see a new provider, you can just share it with them and they will get better information and get access to all the information about your child in one place. So it's very convenient, especially in the US where it has additional features. And it's also really good for the foundation because we get access to it anonymously and get data that is valuable for MED13L research. So and it only takes a few minutes to sign up and find your doctors and your hospitals and providers from a list, upload your genetic report, and you're good to go. So I think that it took me 5 minutes to do. So that is something that we're hoping to get more members to do. And now there are additional incentives to do it based on information we just received from Citizen. Anyone who shares the Citizen with another person who will join Citizen will get $20. And families who join will enter into the $5,000 caregiver recharge giveaway, which has many different benefits and for a total of $5,000. And anyone who is using their new feature, AI Advocate, which unfortunately I wasn't able to attend the meeting yesterday to discuss it, but it is an AI tool that allows families to get information about how to read their genetic diagnosis and how to prepare for IEPs and what parenting advice or what parenting resources are available based on specific disorders like MED13L. It seems to be a really useful tool, and whoever will try it I believe by the end of the year, will enter into a $5,000 giveaway in a recharge package. So that's something worth doing. We will share a link. We've already shared it on social media, but we'll share a link to join Citizen. And the other thing that we're promoting.
Real fast, Inon, I have to say, and I recorded a video yesterday and I will circulate it of me signing up for Citizen and going through all the different pieces, but I did see that AI feature there and it's really impressive. It was very helpful. We've been, as a foundation, looking into various ways of building like a chat bot to get into our website. And that is a goal at some point. But I was very impressed with their AI feature. So I would definitely sign up for that alone. And
And I
there
think that
were
it's
a lot of
valuable.
resources I was kind of blown away by the number of resources when I did log on to it.
Oh,
Um,
that's wonderful. Because I know that a lot of people are now relying on advice from AI for anything that is disease related, disorder related. And it's very good to know that there's a place where the advice comes from information that is actually put into the system by professionals and by information that is pulled from MED13L resources. So,
I will say, because the only way I have been able to understand MED13L and the research projects is through AI and in particular ChatGPT. That being said, there have been some basic questions that ChatGPT has gotten wrong about MED13L. So it's really important if you are using AI to build a project and download the publications we have on our website and add to that MED13L project and add our website and say only pull information from here. But what's nice about Citizen is they've already done that for you. So you know the information you are getting from Citizen is correct. So yeah, I just wanted to
excellent.
give that one plug as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that almost every parent I talk to now relies in one way or another on every person I know relies in one way or another on AI to get answers for questions. And people sometimes just assume that whatever comes out of AI is correct. Very often that is not the case. So it's very good to know that there's a resource that is more credible. So we encourage people to log into Citizen and try their new feature, AI Advocate, and you'll be entered into a $5,000 recharge package giveaway. So why not?
I will say, final note on that one is AI is wonderful and it's so helpful, but it will never replace talking to another parent. And we're always here. If you ever have a question, if you just email info@med13l.org, we will connect you with someone who, even if, their child has MED13L and it may look a little different, but we might be able to connect you with someone who's experienced something different, or they didn't exactly experience that, but they know your hard and their hard look alike, and nothing's ever going to replace that. So we're always here.
Absolutely. So that is one goal that we hope to get as many people as we can sign up by Thanksgiving, and if not by the end of the year. So we encourage everyone listening to it to not procrastinate and go ahead and sign up for Citizen if they haven't done so already. And if you know of any friends, other MED13L families that you're in touch with who have not signed up for Citizen, you can share it with them, get the $20 referral, and help more people sign up for information. A lot of people don't realize that the information that is entered is crucial for research, that the research that the MED13L Foundation is promoting and sponsoring and facilitating relies on data that is entered by the parents. And if that data is not entered, it is harder. And if genetic reports are not uploaded, it is harder for researchers to have a whole picture of what it's like to have MED13L syndrome. So that is one item on our agenda. Oh, go ahead.
Well, and actually, Inon, I'm going to go off script for 1 second because Phil and I were actually just on a call, and the person who is a researcher explained it was the best explanation I've ever heard about on why Citizen, RareX, are these platforms we have are important. And this beautiful visual is something Vanessa created in collaboration with Rachel. So if anyone went to the European meetup in France, this is kind of what we handed out, and this is our research roadmap. And anything that's in bold, we completed it. Anything that's blue but not bolded, it's in process. And anything that's gray is we have not started it yet, but it is a goal. So if you look on here, it talks about the biomarker project, specific biomarkers. So you can see that's in progress. And when we were talking today, the scientist said one of the most important things we need in order to go to a clinical trial, because for a lot of us, that is one of our big goals is getting a treatment for our children to reduce some of the challenges they face. And in order to do that, we need to have biomarkers. And to her, she said, a biomarker means, as a scientist, the blood samples we give, the nasal swabs, the cheek swabs, there's different levels, there's different protein levels. And she said, I can go in and I can look at okay, well, this child here, their protein's higher over here, and this child here, well, their levels are lower here. And she shared, that doesn't mean anything to me unless I have caregiver reported surveys that the caregiver is telling me what those challenges that child's facing are. Do their challenges seem to be more impactful or less impactful than other people with this disorder? And then as well as citizen, which is your medical records. And now what is a doctor saying this looks like? All this research we're doing over here, our scientists can't do anything with it unless they have these things. So I just felt like that was really helpful, that if your end goal is a treatment, is a drug, is a gene therapy, this is step 2. So thank you so much for everyone who's able to do it. And that's just why it's important. So back to you, Inon.
Something that I forgot to mention before, which is a precursor to actually participating in research and joining Citizen, as well as joining the next study that I'm going to discuss, the toiletic study, ORTAS, is signing up for a CRID. For those of you who are not aware, most research, because it's done anonymously, is done instead of with the patient's name, is done with a number. That number is called CRID, Clinical Research ID. It takes 1 minute to go on the CRID website, and we are sharing links to that as well. I believe it's thecrid.org. Let me just confirm that. Sure.
Hold on, I'm gonna steal the screen one more time, because I think, once again, Vanessa, who helps with our laying out everything on our website in a very purposeful way, I think we did a good job of our website really explaining this, just if everyone knows where to go. So if you just go to med13l.org, if you go to new diagnosis help, and in the video that I'm going to upload, I explain step 1 a little bit, but if you scroll down to step 2, get your CRID, it's right here. And then right under that is the citizen link. So we tried really hard to try to make it as easy as possible for you guys to get this.
Yes, and it literally takes 1 minute to sign up for a CRID. You just enter the child's information, name and date of birth, and you get a number that is an anonymous clinical research ID that can then be shared with the researchers. And then all the information is from that point on is anonymous. So that is an important step that we're asking parents to sign up for. Some studies involve a sibling as well who's not affected. So usually you'd create a CRID for them as well, another few seconds. And then the other study that we wanted to mention today, which we would like to encourage the community to participate in, is called the ORTAS toileting study. ORTAS stands for Observer Reported Toileting Ability Survey. And Combined Brain is, I believe, created this toileting survey. Toileting is an aspect of parenting and abilities that affects many different disorders. As we all know, MED13L as well. Most of our children are delayed, and we're trying to get a full picture of what are the toileting abilities and disabilities and challenges that the children with MED13L are facing. It takes about half an hour to fill out the survey. I think it took me 20 something minutes, so it could also be done faster. All you need is a CRID, and you need to email the Combined Brain in order to participate. The email is ortas@combinedbrain.org. We will share that email, and they will send you a consent form, and then you can participate in the study. And we encourage everyone who hears this to take the 20 minutes, half hour necessary in order to participate. Let us in Combined Brain know what are the challenges that children at different ages with MED13L are facing with toileting. It's a very important metric that so far has not been covered by other surveys that were pushed by the foundation.
And I will just chime in again, it will also be a biomarker. If we can get this validated, if Combined Brain, who's running this, can get enough data in there that says, this is what a child with MED13L, this is their toileting abilities. So this is based on these surveys, this is where their achievements are. Then we introduce a drug, and then we do the toileting survey again. And now all of a sudden, the abilities go from here to here. Well, that's something the FDA can look at and say, okay, it looks like this drug is doing something. It looks like this is a measurable outcome. There are real clear goals here, because as a parent, you can tell, if you're trying something or your child's having a good day or having a more challenging day. As a parent, you can tell. Putting that information in a way that the FDA understands it and approves it so then insurance will cover it and they'll pay for it. That's harder. So the next step after putting this information in it is for Combined Brain to get a publication. And the foundation would just love to be a part of that publication, because every time MED13L is in a publication, that's a win. And that's another document that you can take to your doctor and say, here, I know I can advocate for my child, and I mean, we're the best advocates, but sometimes doctors want to see someone in their field being like, okay, what mom and dad is saying is right. Like it says it right here. And so that it's just another tool for your tool belt. And I should just steal the screen the whole time so everyone's not getting dizzy from going back and forth. It's on the website. If you guys can see, so I am on the research opportunity page. So if you go to our website, if you go to research, and this is just another great page just to read about everything that's going on, all opportunities. And again, we have a lot of all the things that we're working on right now and that you can participate in. The last one is this ORTAS survey, and you can look at it right here. And then at the bottom is the email address that Inon just said from memory, which was very impressive. Yeah. Back to you, Inon.
Well, I think that a point that we always try to make is that so many of us as MED13L parents, we're aware of our child's experience, and we don't really know how it measures in comparison with other MED13L children. MED13L parents, obviously every child has different abilities, different challenges, but sometimes only when we put in the data, we're able to see what data comes out and how our child fares in comparison with other MED13L children, and whether some of the challenges that they have are indeed related to MED13L. And that goes for all the information that is put into research. I think that a good example for that, both of us, Katie, discussed in the past ear and hearing problems as a result of MED13L. And we both realized that it was barely mentioned in literature before. It wasn't really like a phenotype. It wasn't really something that a symptom of MED13L that was discussed in literature. And once we started collecting data, thanks to RareX and other platforms, we started realizing actually hearing problems are underreported in MED13L and are a lot more common among MED13L children than what was known before based on the anecdotal literature that was available. So it's always really valuable to participate in research, share what your child's experience is like, and make sure that your child's experience counts towards the bigger picture of understanding what the syndrome is.
That is such a good point. And I'm trying to pull up this poster that we had. I can't remember the exact number of participants. It'll say on this poster when I can find it, participate in the disease concept model. And the disease concept model that we did in collaboration with Combined Brain was done as a thesis project for a genetic counseling student at Rutgers. And we spent a year working with her, and she interviewed, I believe, like 18 MED13L caregivers, and then two therapists that work with children with MED13L, and then a clinician. And the large difference between what is reported in our publications versus what the caregivers were reporting, I believe we had about 50 new symptoms mentioned that are not once mentioned in the literature, and they were commonly mentioned. And then what's mentioned and referenced a ton in the literature didn't really come up. And so again, this is where just make every story count comes from, is this is how we tell the researchers where to put effort, where to look into. And then this is how we get the resources to bring to our clinicians to say, this is what we need to do. Again, because we are the fiercest advocates for our children, but having the tools to back up what we're saying just makes our job a little easier. Because I have had two different clinicians make decisions based on what was in the publication, dismissing my claims, saying, I'm not really seeing that. We're not going to do ear tubes again. Or I don't think this strabismus is related to MED13L. That day, I went back to the Facebook group. I asked, hey, does anybody else have strabismus? 25 people immediately said yes. And that's just who saw my post that day. So I called the doctor and I was like, this is part of a bigger, like, this is part of MED13L. So our doctors are making decisions for our children based on these publications. And that's why this information is so important. And that's why this end of the year for Citizen is so important, because that's when Citizen is going to take the information and analyze the first set. So of course, if people miss the deadline, you can continue to enroll. We're not cutting off enrollment, but in order to participate and get the best first swath of information and get the best information out that we can use to inform our clinicians, that's where this end of the year comes from.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
a quick recap, what we're asking members who are listening to this. We have 3 asks today. The first one, just take 1 minute, go on the CRID. If you haven't done so already or participated in research, blood draws and such, where CRID was already created for you, in which case you should have your child's CRID number. But otherwise, just go on the crid.org. You can find a link through the website and get a clinical research ID for a child. Should take a minute or under. Then, if you haven't already signed up for Citizen and uploaded your genetic report and entered your provider's information, please do so. This should also take about 5 minutes and is very helpful. If you have done so, please share it with other friends, other MED13L parents that you're in touch with, and you will receive the $20 gift rebate. And then anyone who enters and tries AI Advocate, the new AI platform that provides valuable answers to parents based on the information that is entered into Citizen, will enter the $5,000 recharge giveaway. And then lastly, for anyone who can take the 20-30 minutes that it takes to complete the ORTAS toileting study, that would be very helpful in order to help us try to validate the toileting challenges that MED13L children have as a biomarker, and help us get a better picture of what toileting challenges are like for MED13L children.
That was a great recap. Yeah, and I'm just wanted to give a visual real fast. It might be a little hard to see, and we are working on getting it up on am I having a hard time with it? My PowerPoint's having a mind of its own right now. Well, sorry. Best laid plans. Zoomed in a little too much, I think. Sorry. You'll see, I think it's right below this. There we go. It's over here. Now I'm zoomed in too much. So the green is, sorry, the bottom is okay. So the purple is what is reported in the literature, and the green is what our MED13L caregivers reported. And you really see how there's a big difference. So what is in the literature? And I'm sure a lot of people have felt that when they sat in on their first diagnosis appointment or every appointment thereafter, really feeling like your doctor doesn't understand your child, what they're saying. You think to yourself, well, this doesn't look like my child. This doesn't sound like my child. Do they even know what they're talking about? They know what they're talking about, but what they're relying on is not our community. It's where the scientists decided to put their efforts. And this is where we get to get back in the driver's seat and tell them where to look. Because I just find this no one's looking at sleep. And that is big for me because I like my sleep. So if we could get some scientists looking there. No one's looking at behavior. That's a huge difference right there. And I do feel behavior is communication, and giving our kids the right tools and resources to be their very best. That's our job. And this is how we do it. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
And go fill out your survey.
For